In case you missed what happened in the weekend, Mark Ogden asked Amorim about Marcus Rashford. Said the reason is the training, the way I see what footballers should do in training in life, in every day, in every detail. So if things don't change, I will not change. I'll put the goalkeeper coach, Vidal, on before I put a player on that don't give the maximum every day. So I will not change in that department. Steve, I just wonder what you make of this, about how this is something for the media and how much it's something that actually affects the squad.
Well, it definitely affects the squad. I mean, when he comes out and says things like this, the squad are going, well, this guy means business. So it's always a good...
But you don't need a manager to come out publicly and say these sort of things, because surely you know if he needs business because you're with him 24/7 on the training ground.
No, listen, when you have the opportunity to assert your authority, particularly when you're not exactly flying, I think it's never a bad thing. However, there are certain things that you do to assert your authority, and on this occasion, I think in terms of the way people at the club, not the players, but the people at the club, and certainly former players like myself, look at a coach who comes out and says that, is absolutely 100% wrong.
Oh, really?
All he had to say was, nothing's changed on that front. That's all he had to say. I think it tells you more about Amorim, that he's coming out and trying to be clever and saying things like, oh, the reserve goalie would be playing before Rashford. I absolutely think that says more about him.
Tell me more.
Well, why is he saying that? Does he feel as though he has to show how tough he is and how big and strong he is? Is he insecure? You know, is this a facade that we're seeing, how he's coming out and everybody seems to be patting him on the back, saying things like we're the worst team since whatever.
Ever, yeah.
How can these things be good? But he's continuing to do it. I would suggest this guy inside is not quite as secure as he's trying to make out, because that is just there was absolutely no reason to say what he said. He's already made the statement. He's already showed his colours in terms of Rashford. So why are you continue to talk? Because he feels as though he needs to. I think it says more about Amorim than anything else.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford is an easy target, really. And it's of his own doing. It's not, I'm not putting this on Amorim and saying that he doesn't have an easy target in Marcus Rashford because Marcus Rashford is working really hard out there. No. Look, Marcus Rashford and his commitment to what he does and to his craft has been in question well before Ruben Amorim coming in. And so, as a new manager, coming into a locker room that you know is turbulent, that you know has had issues, this is like shooting fish in a barrel. This is incredibly easy. You pick out...
So is it necessary?
I think it's necessary to a point that you pick out a player that is a big name within the club. A player that is not delivering what you're asking him to deliver. That was already on shaky ground with the fans, with the club, with the media. And there's already this sort of agenda about Marcus Rashford. And he comes in and makes the initial statement about Marcus Rashford. And I think that's fair. That part of it is fair. It's a continuation. It's a continuation that then detracts and sort of deflects and takes away from all the struggles of Manchester United. And now we're concerned about the conversation about Marcus Rashford. I would say this about Marcus Rashford, because he is at the center of all of this. If it is true that what he's being asked to do is the very bare minimum of showing up and actually doing your job, and he's unwilling to do that, that's a poor reflection, incredibly poor reflection on Marcus Rashford himself. And if I were in his circle, and whoever is among his loved ones, people of confidence, people that have his ear, I would go to Marcus Rashford and say, Marcus, when you were a kid, no, and you were thinking about the dreams of playing at Wembley and playing for England, when you were thinking about playing at Old Trafford and scoring goals, and you were hitting the ball at the wall 1,000 times over, what is it that drove you? It was the love of playing this game. It had to be, because otherwise, why do you put yourself through this? Go back to that. And show up to training with that in mind.
But does Amorim mentioning his Six-year-old goalkeeping coach helped that.
And that was going to be my next point. Marcus Rashford may take that information in from his loved ones and then shows up, and then the manager is saying that about him, and you kind of go, well, there goes the love of the game. Those stories simply don't match up. If you're trying to motivate the player by doing this, I think you've gone a step too far. We already know that Marcus Rashford was on very shaky ground. Address it with the player.
Right.
You've already made it public. No need to double down on it. You address it with the player. And if you have a problem with the player, address it with the player.
I think what he's done, and I think when he said it, he probably thought, I'm putting more pressure on Rashford. I think what he's done is make people question him. That's my basic
I don't know,
problem.
Stevie. Everyone loves it, don't they? Everyone likes the strong hand, like what he's saying.
I'm talking, if you look at this from a football side, if you look at this from the position Man United are in, the way this team's playing, listen, for the press and everything, it's great. Oh, yeah, it gives us more to talk about, and Rashford. But I just think if you look a little closer, I think this says more about Amorim than it does Rashford. We know all this stuff with Rashford. To me, he's making people question him. Why is he saying that? We've sat here and said, why is he saying it? So that's my point.
Right.
We're now talking about Amorim and not Rashford. I think the guy's not quite as secure as he's
And part of his job is engaging that player.
But maybe he's tried. Maybe he's gone.
Well, you
don't say anything then.
Then do you think this helps?
Keep your mouth shut then. Just, hey,